Hi, I'm Darnell with Oven Recipes, and this is my review of the Ninja Foodi 8-quart Deluxe XL Pressure Cooker Air Fryer. So let's get it unboxed right now. Alright, so here's the box that the shipping box comes in, but it's our Ninja Foodi Deluxe Pressure Cooker 8 quarts. So let's get it out of this box here. Now I want to start this review by saying that I had no real plans to get this Ninja Foodi pressure air fryer. However, you can blame, and this video is in no way sponsored by anyone, no one gave me anything, and you'll further understand as I explain here, but you can blame Kohl's for this, because Kohl's sent me a 40% off coupon, and they said you got to use it today or you lose it. Basically it was a one-day coupon, and 40% off at Kohl's, I could not resist. I had to get something. And so, this was something where, with a 40% off coupon, I could get over any issues that I have with it while I wasn't going to get it. And so I got it. But the reason why I wasn't going to ever really get a Ninja Foodi pressure cooker air fryer of any type is because the issue that I have with them all is this lid that they hook onto the side and you can't remove it. I don't really like this non-removable lid thing. It's always been a real bit of a nit for me, I guess a little irk for me, and so I was just like, no, I don't want that. Because like so many companies have made pressure air fryers with a removable lid that doesn't have to latch onto the edge like this. And so it was like, well, what's the point? But with 40% off, I'm able to get over that. It will get over any issues I got with that. For 40% off, I'm there. So I got one. Now I just want to show the power cord real quick. It's a 3-prong grounded power cord, so real nice and useful there. Now I just want to show you the air fryer lid real quick, just so you can see. It's got a pretty big coil that goes out to about here, and so it's a pretty big coil to cover things pretty well. So when you cover it to air fry, it should give some pretty decent air fry. Now really quick, I want to show you all the paperwork that comes with it. You've got like this little pamphlet here. You've got some like quick starter type of guides. They give you a recipe book that is pretty big. This big recipe book here, as far as the amount of pages, it's pretty big. A lot of different recipes. Let's see how many pages it is. And this is all in English. And it's like almost 100 pages. It's like 90... goes back to page 93, all about, different cooking charts. There's some cooking charts in the back. Actually, this is not all recipes. When you get back to your last recipe is on page 71. So you only get 71 pages of recipes for anybody who's disappointed that you don't get recipes all the way to the end. I think that's still a pretty nice deal. Getting 71 pages of recipes and then a lot of info about how to use the cooker. And there's also some pages up front about how to use the cooker also. Let's see, just trying to see where the recipes begin. The recipes begin on page 17. So pages 17 through 71 are recipes. The rest are guides and other information to help you use the cooker. And then there's the manual here. Now let's go over the accessories here. We've got what's called a deluxe layer with a reversible rack. And so the deluxe layer and the reversible rack work together. So the deluxe layer and the reversible rack work like this. You take the reversible rack and you put it like that, and then you can take your deluxe layer and you can set it on top of there. And so that's how you kind of got like 2 layers for yourself. And they've got the Crisp and Cook basket with the removable diffuser. And you just kind of set it on there and it helps raise up the basket a little bit. And of course you've got your cooking pot in here. It's an 8-quart pot, so nice and big. And I'm going to show you up close here. We can see here up close, you can probably see the max fill line is right there, so you get a lot of room to work with right up to there to fill it up. So you can fit a lot of stuff in here. And I just want to close the what they call crisping lid or air frying lid just close that up, and you can see it's got like some vents on the top. It's also got some vents around the back here. Got some vents going on around the back. Also got kind of your condensation dispenser there where it catches some of the excess moisture. They even give you a couple of little mitts to use to get hot things out, to basically get the hot pot out and stuff like that. So that's kind of neat. And here's the pressure cooker lid here for pressure cooking. You can see here that it's got the seal end and the vent end, and because of this you know how it's positioned, you have to make sure that you don't have your hand in the way when you're going to switch it over to the vent, or you might burn yourself or something. You have to be careful with that. Inside it's got the inner ring. It's got a black inner ring, and it's got the little cap and a little cover there for the float, for the pressure float. And this cooker has 1760 watts, which is pretty powerful. And for its dimensions, it's 16.1 inches in length, 14.57 inches in width, and 14.29 inches in height. And it weighs in at 26.04 pounds. Alright, so here we have the Emeril Lagasse 8-quart pressure air fryer and our Ninja Foodi 8-quart pressure air fryer, and I found out something interesting that I want to show you right off. And you just tell me how you feel about this. I'll tell you how I feel about it as we go along here. But here we have the pot from the Emeril, and look at this 8-quart pot here. And this is the Ninja Foodi 8-quart pot. Well, watch this. Why does my Emeril pot fit inside the Ninja Foodi pot? I mean, how does that happen if they're both 8 quarts? It shouldn't really happen. I mean, if I, just for example, put the Emeril pot over here and I have the Ninja Foodi pot, Ninja's not going in there because Ninja's wider. It's a bigger pot. Alright, here's both pots together, setting on the level surface here. And you see that the Emeril pot's just a tad taller. I mean, we're talking just a tad taller. And so, just taking the tape measure here, we can see that the Emeril pot is just about at 7 inches. The Ninja pot is maybe 2/8 of an inch under, maybe 2/8 of an inch under at best. I mean, maybe not even 2/8 of an inch. But in width, we see that the Ninja pot, if we go from one end to the other, well, I guess we'll just do the inside. It's like, on the inside, it's like about 9.5. And inside for the Emeril, it's about, I guess we're talking about from the widest part of the mouth of it. It's about 9.5, but this is at the widest part of the mouth. This isn't on the deep interior. So in the deep interior, I'm looking at, well, let me show you here. On the deep interior, I'm looking at about 9 inches in there. If I can, I guess it's kind of hard to show you and I don't want to scratch. I don't want to scratch the pot, but it's about 9 inches. When I go down inside of the Emeril, I'm just about 8 inches. Just about 8 inches on the deep interior of the Emeril pot. So it's definitely, in my opinion, smaller pot. So, right off, it looks like, to me, just my opinion, you can leave your comments, but to me, 8 quarts is not the same as 8 quarts. A Emeril 8-quart is not the same as a Ninja 8-quart. It looks like you're getting more from the Ninja. I also want to show you, as far as the air fryer coil size and all goes, the heating element over here, I guess I can't really easily do the heating element just itself, but it's just under, no, it's just over. It's about 7.5 inches of heating coil from end to end. Now with Emerils, if you do the heating coil from end to end, it's about 6 inches. No, it's like under 6 inches of actual heating coil. So with the Ninja, you get more heating coil than you do from the Emeril as far as heating coil size. Now I have showed you how the vent knob is on the top of the Ninja, and you got to kind of watch your hand and be careful there. With the Emeril, the vent is right here, the little vent. button is right there, so it's away from where the steam comes out, so you have kind of less worries. I also wanted to show on the Ninja pressure lid that this little thing that is over the pressure float, this little thing here, little gasket there, the little mini thing there, it is a different design than the type of one that goes onto like the Emerald. This the one that they have on the Emerald, I'll show you by taking this thing out. You see this one, you know, is kind of different there. And this one is kind of more like the one that you see in like an Instant Pot. Now I did want to show you, this is the lid from the Emerald 8-quart pot, the kind of lid cover that you use when you're not doing pressure cooking. It will go onto the Ninja's kind of just barely kind of work. But I can basically use this lid, I guess, if I want to. It's kind of not the most snug. I guess one official from Ninja would be more snug, but this one kind of fits it almost, you know, because it's going on a slightly smaller pot. You know, it kind of doesn't go in snugly as an official Ninja lid probably. There's a lot of room for playing around, moving around there. Alright, let's do some quickie independent measurements here. If I do base to the very top, I see about it's under 15. It's about, yeah, it's about 14, about 14 and a half roughly, just roughly speaking. From end to end here, it's kind of tough to tell, but it's about a little under 16 inches, about 15 and a little bit more, but less than 16. And front to back here, just doing an independent measure from the very back part to the front. It's over 12, about 12 and a half, about 12 and a half that way. Let's see, I wanted to do one where you open the lid all the way, and I can't even, I guess, give you the full view of it, because I see how you're kind of not able to see the full base and tip, but you'll have to just take my word for it on this one. I'm going to do it from over here. I'm seeing just under 22 inches when the lid is open, so you need to consider that much clearance space. I just have to kind of put it away from my cabinet to be able to open it up like that. Alright, now I'm going to do an initial plug-in. So plugging it in here. So once you plug in, you see it says, hey, Foodie, or it tries to say Foodie like it's the Foodie. You don't even have to press the power button, but there is a power button here that you can press to turn it off, and it goes bye-bye. But we'll bring it back. And so now that it's on, I'm going to show you how to operate the different buttons and controls here. Basically, what you want to do to go around to these different functions, you can turn this dial, this function knob, and it can go to different functions. See how, like, when I turned it, it goes from air, crisp, to broil, to bake, dehydrate. And if you switch the lid, so if you switch to this pressure lid, then you can do the pressure functions. So you put the pressure lid on by just kind of getting it in like that, and then just locking it on in. And then once you lock it in, it's set to seal once you lock it in there. But then you can do some of your pressure functions like pressure, steam, slow cook, yogurt, saute, sear are your options over there. And also, when you're over on the air fry side, we'll get this lid off real quick. And we'll put the air fryer back on. When you're on the air fry side, you can do some things you can do some temperature things over on the pressure side, but you can do more, I guess, more precise type of temperature measurements and settings and such over here on the air fry side, where you can do like special degree settings. You can't do as many special degree settings over on the pressure side, even though you can control temperature on some things over on the pressure side as well. But like, for example, over here on air fry, I'm on air fry, and let's say I want to change the temp. I can just press this temp button, and once I press temp, I can adjust my temp. And then when I press time, I can adjust my time. So that's how you adjust time and temp as well as function. Then you can just click on function again if you want to go to a different function and spin the wheel for the function that you want. There's also a keep warm button. Usually after pressure cooks, it's going to do like a keep warm automatically, but if you ever just wanted to do a keep warm on your own, you can hit keep warm and it'll start keeping something warm. And if keep warm is already running and you want to stop it, then you can press the keep warm button to stop things from being kept warm. I also wanted to mention that you can adjust the time and temp midway in a cook. So while it's in the middle of a cook, if you didn't get the right time or you felt just that you need to add time, you can add or remove as you please and adjust temperature as things are cooking. Now we're going to get into some of the crisp lid functions. And I do want to mention though that the crisp lid, whenever you take the crisp lid off, when you just kind of pop it up, it will auto pause the cook. So that's kind of cool that it will auto pause when you take the lid off. And with Air Crisp, you can put in either the crisp and cook basket, that's this basket here, with the diffuser. So if I just pop in the diffuser, there we go, you can put that in like that. Or you can put in the reversible basket, and you can, do 1 or 2 layers as you choose. And of course those are going into your ceramic pot. You're going to put the basket or the reversible rack into the pot. You're not going to cook anything ever at all without this pot in here. And the temperature range for Air Crisp is 300 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Cook time is up to 1 hour. And it has no built-in preheat for Air Crisp, but you can basically add 5 minutes to your cooking time if you wanted to do a preheat. The next function for the crisp lid is to broil. So I just turn there to broil. And with broil, you can use the deluxe reversible rack in its high position. So that would be basically without your deluxe thing there, you could just turn this basically like this, and then it's in the high position. Put that in the pot, and you can get it real close to the heating coils for some broiling. And the temperature for broil is locked at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't get to adjust it. And the cook time is up to 30 minutes. The next option is the bake roast option. So with bake and roast, you can put your food in the pot, or you can use accessories in the pot, to your liking, whatever accessories you want to use. And the temperature range is 250 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The next Air Crisp function, and the last one, is to dehydrate. So we just went down there to dehydrate. And with dehydrate, you can use like the deluxe reversible rack in the low position. So that's like this here in the low position. And then you can put the deluxe rack on top of it so that you can kind of stack things up like I showed earlier. You can have food on a couple of layers, and you can do your dehydration. They do claim to sell a 5-layer dehydration rack separately if you're interested in that. The temperature range is 80 degrees Fahrenheit to 195 degrees Fahrenheit, and cooking time up to 12 hours. Next we want to talk about some of the pressure lid functions, so I'm just going to put that pressure lid back in place while we discuss pressure lid functions, and got it kind of locked in there. And so basically with the pressure lid functions, I want to mention that the pressure time varies and can take upwards of 20 minutes. Most sections of the manual say like 15 minutes, and then there's another section that says upwards of 20 minutes for it to pressurize. But it really is going to depend on a lot of variables, like how much you put in it and things like that is going to cause a different variation in how long it takes to pressurize. They do also mention that a natural release when you're using pressure is going to take upwards of 20 minutes. Now the first function that we'll go over when we're talking about the pressure lid is the pressure function. And with the pressure function, you're going to basically put in your ingredients in at least a cup of water, and you use the accessories that you choose. You don't want to fill more than halfway if you're using foods that expand like rice or beans. And the pressure options for through the temperature button are low and high, so you can press temp and you can go low or high. So basically that's it. You just get low or high pressure are your options there. And the cook time is up to 4 hours on pressure. The next option from the pressure lid, hitting the function button again so I can select steam. In the steam option, you basically would use like a cup of liquid or whatever amount of liquid the recipe calls for, and you use the basket or the rack with your ingredients as well if you chose. And you want to make sure that you have the vent open when you're doing steam, so you want to make sure that that vent is set to open and not set to close on steam, so you want to have it over on the vent position. And there's no temperature or level of adjustment for the steam, and you can cook with steam for up to 30 minutes. And make sure that the float is down before you open after using steam, since there may be some pressure that builds up to cause the valve to rise and such while it's cooking with steam. The next option is slow cook for the pressure lid. And with slow cook, you basically just add in your ingredients and you leave the pressure lid on the vent open position. The temperature setting, basic options are low and high. So if I hit temperature, I've just got low and high, and that's it. And the cook time kind of varies, but it's up to 12 hours, but it's 4 to 12 hours if you're using high slow cook temp, and it's 6 to 12 hours if you're using low slow cook temp. The next option to discuss, which is also under this same setting of slow cook, is the yogurt option. And when doing yogurt, you basically have a bit more that you have to do, of course, if you're familiar with making yogurt. And basically you want to add the amount of milk you want. You leave the pressure lid vent open. Your temperature options are going to be ferment and yogurt. So let's see if I can go over here. I just turned the function knob to yogurt, so you see it's over there on yogurt now. And so if I do a temp setting, I can turn it again and it goes between ferment and yogurt, see? So that's how you can do that there. And if you're making yogurt, you're going to set an incubation time of 8 to 12 hours, and it'll pasteurize and show boil while it's pasteurizing. It'll show boil on the display, and it'll tell you when to do the adding and stirring, like for skimming off the top of the milk and adding your cultures and such. And after that, you press the start stop button again to begin the fermentation process, and then it'll show ferment on the display while doing fermentation. And after that, you would chill your yogurt for up to 12 hours before serving. The next function is the saute sear function, or sear saute function. And basically you just add your ingredients in. The temperature options are like low, low, medium, 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 high, and high. Those are the temperature settings. And then there's no time adjustment option for this function, so it just runs. And then you just press the start button to begin, and then you just press the start stop button again when you're finished. And basically start stop is pressing in on this big button there. And when you're using the sear saute, you can use either lid, but if you're using the pressure lid, you want to be sure to keep the pressure valve open. Alright, so now we're going to do a water test. And so for a water test, we need 3 cups of water. Always use cool water when starting out. Next, we want to put on the pressure lid, so I'm going to get that in place. So got that locked in. And now that that's locked in, I'm going to go over to the pressure function, and I've got it on high pressure, and I'm going to adjust the time down to just 2 minutes of high pressure. And I may, while this is going, I may move the foodie around a little bit just so that the steam isn't like going to hit my cabinets, you know what I mean? But from here I'm going to go ahead and hit start, and so it's just kind of preheating, and it's showing a little display while it's preheating, but it'll basically preheat. It'll go through the couple of minutes of cooking, and then after that going to do a quick release for the water test. And so I've moved it around a little bit, but you're really not supposed to move it at all once you've got things locked in for building up pressure. But I've just turned my knob to make sure that it's set to pressure, and things are going to just build up that steam, and then that pressure and steam in there. And then when it's done, I'll basically change it to vent for a quick release. Now I do apologize that you can't see it counting down, but at this point there's just about 20 seconds left as it's counting down. And basically it only took about 7 minutes to pressurize it. Pressurized pretty quick. So it's, done its pressurization, it's going through the pressure cook, and just some seconds left, and then I'm going to hit it with the quick release. And we'll see that mighty burst of steam when the time runs out. Time just ran out, so here we go. You have to hold it. You have to actually hold it. You see, when I let it go, it stopped shrinking. Alright. So it does lock, you just have to pull it further. Alright, so it's fully depressurized now. It does take a couple of minutes for all the pressure to come out. You just have to make sure when you're pulling the vent, if you want to have it all just shoot out, to pull it all the way so that it locks. If you don't pull it all the way, it'll kind of be loose and it won't lock in. So we got all the pressure out of there now. We've got it in the vent position. Whoa, I just found out, I was resting my hand here, but I kind of touched this. This is real hot right there. This ring here is real hot, so be careful of this metal ring part. Although the plastic is cool to the touch. So going to open up now and get the lid off. So that's our water test. Alright, so now I'm going to do a test with the air fry lid, do some temperature testing and such. So I got it over on the air crisp function. Well, actually I'm going to go broil because that can go all the way to 450. And I'm going to adjust the time for broil to let's go up to 30 minutes. I don't know if I'll do the full 30 minutes, but I basically want to test, if broil can get things in there really hot, just test how hot things are in the pot after broil is done. And I know my heat gun, it doesn't necessarily work perfectly on reflective surfaces, but I think it'll give us a good gauge of what the temperature is in there if we open up after it's been air broiling for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and with this, actually I was about to hit the power button, but I want to hit start. And going to let that just run for a while. And if I hear that it regulates down, then I may open it up if I think it regulates down, thinking that it's already at 450. But if it doesn't regulate down, maybe after 15 minutes I'll open it up and we'll, be able to see what's going on in there. Alright, so it's got maybe almost 30 seconds left to run for 15 minutes. It sounded like this basically constantly throughout the broil. It's not loud at all, not very loud at all. The top is not hot to the touch here on the top of the air fry lid. Here on this metal, probably a little warmer there and warmer here than it is on the top. The top's really cool. But I'm going to open it up, we'll see if that auto pause kicks in, and I'll check the temperature and we'll see what we can get from the heat gun by testing temperature. So just a few more seconds and I'm going to lift it up. 1, 0, and it's open, and auto pause, and inside the heat gun saying it's 382 at the bottom of the pot. Up higher it's near 400 in the 390s. So it's pretty hot in there. I guess if you had something right in the center, right under the heating element, I guess you might just get to that 450 if you're right there on that heating element. So, pretty good temperature as far as it running, and it does auto pause, and if we close, and it goes right back to running again. So that's pretty cool. So it does seem like it does pretty good with the broiling. Alright, so now it's time to do a cook test. And what I've got here is a pork loin. It's almost 6 pounds worth of pork loin. And so what I'm going to do first is get it out of the cryo bag. Alright, so I got the pork loin out of the cryo bag. And the cool thing about this pork loin is that it was already 2 pieces in each bag, so it's already 4 pieces. I would normally, if necessary, cut the pork loin into 4 pieces so that it all cooks easier. And the other ingredients I've got in addition to this pork loin, I've got some McCormick's Grill Mate sweet and smoky rub that I'm going to use because I like that rub. And I've got about a cup of vegetable stock, so I'm going to be putting some vegetable stock in there as well. But the first thing I need to do is to basically get each piece covered in my seasoning and then get it in the pot. Alright, so I've got all the meat in the pot. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour my fluid in there. Like so. We got our meat and fluid in. And I'm going to take the pressure lid and lock it into place. So get it on and lock it in. Make sure that things are set to the seal setting. And now that everything's all set up, I'm going to turn the Ninja Foodi on and going to turn it to pressure. And what I do for pork loin is the weight times 10 minus 10. So in this case it's almost 6 pounds. For my calculations that's going to be about 50 minutes. And so I'm going to use the high pressure for time. I'm going to hit time and go up to 50. And so we'll just keep going until we get to 50. I like that it doesn't beep as I'm turning this knob. You know, it doesn't do any excessive annoying beeping while I'm doing it. And with that, we're just going to hit start. I'll probably try and spin it a little bit for the sake of my cabinets, but we'll let it go ahead and pressurize, cook, and I'm going to do a 10-minute natural release. So I'm going to let it, after it's done, be pressurized and sealed for about 10 minutes. It's going to be slowly releasing pressure naturally during that 10 minutes, and after 10, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do a full 20-minute plus natural release, just a 10-minute natural release, and then let the rest of the pressure out. But once this gets to the point where it's at that 10-minute period afterwards for the natural release, I'll bring you on back. Alright, so my pork loin has fully cooked up and it's been naturally releasing for 10 minutes. So at this point I'm just going to vent and carefully get out the way. Alright, so the venting is done. Seemed like it was almost maybe 5 minutes of venting there. So just I guess making sure things are fully vented well there. And I'm going to open up and going to get the lid off and going to, just for the sake of checking, check temperature. And yeah, meat's, whoa, I mean that meat's bubbling there. Yeah, over 200 degrees. This meat is super duper hot. And so what I'm going to do at this point now, I'm going to take the meat piece by piece and get it out. Lord willing, nothing's going to just fall apart on me, but just kind of let it, you know, kind of get some of that fluid off, and then just throw it over here piece by piece. Whoa, I mean this stuff got like steam inside of it. Now this piece here is coming apart a little bit, so it definitely air fried, definitely pressure cooked my pork loin pretty good. You know, I probably could have done 40 minutes. I think this might, wow, I mean the way this stuff looks, I think this might pressure cook things a little better than what I've seen from the Emeril in my experiences cooking pork loins in it. I think this might, you know, cook a little faster, a little harder, a little faster. So interesting stuff here. And well, this piece here is falling into two pieces, so I'll just have to get them out separately. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to basically get the pot cleaned up, and then we'll use the air fry lid to put a little sear on this meat. So I'll bring you back when it's time to start searing the meat. Alright, so now it's time to put some sear on this meat. I've got the reversible rack. I'm going to use it in a low position. And when it's in the low position, these top parts kind of act as handles to help you get it out more easily later. So just drop it in there, and going to put some pieces of meat in. So I'm going to get this one that kind of broke in half on me in there, like so. And I'm going to get one more piece and drop it on in there. Well, actually I can fit some more, so let's see if we can get some more on in there. We'll get this piece in there too. So we'll get these parts in for this run, am going to go ahead and close up. And now I'm going to turn things to the air crisp function. Stop that from rattling. And with it on the air crisp function, I'm going to turn the temp down to 375. And I'm going to turn the time. I'm going to do like 5 minutes for each piece. So I'm just going to, let's just do 10. Because I'm going to do like 5 for one piece and then 5 for another. And this seems to hold time better when you're kind of taking the lid on and off and doing things in and out. With the Emeril, it's like when you take the lid off and put it on, you might kind of lose a minute here and there, but with this one it seems to hold steady a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. I'm going to let this run for 5 minutes and do some searing, and then I'll bring you right back. Alright, so we're coming to the end of the first 5-minute run. You can hear how quiet it is, even though it's on the air crisp. It's not loud at all. It's not as loud as a normal like air fryer would be when it's doing its air crisp thing. It's pretty tranquil compared to others in my opinion. But we've had a full 5 minutes pass, and so I open up here and let's see how the meat looks after 5 minutes at 375. It looks like it got a nice little searing. Now you don't want to, do too much of a cook on your pork loin with the air fryer lid, because you don't want to start making your meat hard or dried out or anything like that. So you just want to put a little, a nice little crispness on, not crispness, but just a little of a cook on the outside, a little light searing on the outside, but not too much. So I'm just swapping out the pieces that I'm taking out for some other pieces that were not yet air crisp. So just going to put those in there and then close up, and it doesn't lose a beat, doesn't lose a second of time. And so just basically let those cook, and then we'll be done. So I'll bring you back real soon. Alright, we're coming into the final seconds of the searing for the other parts of this pork loin. I like what I saw from the first bit, but we'll see how the second part turns out. And it's all done. And so with that, I'm going to get it out. You can see that looks pretty good. That looks nice. That looks good. And so I'm going to get the other piece out. Alright, I think that did a good job. You can tell me what you think in a comment. Alright, so now I'm just going to basically just cut into a piece of the pork loin just so we can see how a piece looks inside. You see it's coming apart pretty nice. I see some moisture inside here, so it's still pretty moist. I'm just going to clip a little piece off of it to try and do a quick taste test of a small piece of it. So just cutting this off here, and I'm just going to set that there. I'm just going to do a quick taste of it real quick. It's just going to be a quick taste to let you know how moist or not moist it is. Probably still a little hot, but I'm just going to try it. Alright, it tastes pretty good. It's got some moisture in there, so it didn't totally dry out in the air frying part and the air crisping part. The pork loin, it did well in the Ninja Foodi. I definitely like how things turned out. Alright, I just took a moment to finish eating that rest of that pork loin that I cut off because it's pretty good. But I wanted to talk to you real quick about cleaning the Ninja Foodi here. And basically, when you want to clean it, of course you want to unplug things, let it cool down totally, and then you can wipe the base and the crisping lid and control panel with a damp cloth. All the removable accessories can be put in the dishwasher, but personally I like to wash things by hand. I found that helps prolong life of accessories personally. Also, you want to be sure to remove and clean the inner ring and the cap. And the removable accessories can also be soaked if needed. Of course, this base unit, you can't, soak this with an air fry lid. So you want to keep that in mind also. Alright, so let's talk about the warranty on this Ninja Foodi. Basically, it comes with a standard 1-year warranty, but if you buy direct from Ninja, they do give you a 60-day money-back guarantee. And of course, if you buy at a place like I bought at Kohl's, they let you return stuff even well after the manufacturer warranty ends, which I really like. That's just kind of a thing that they do, but it's not a guarantee that Kohl's has to do that, but they usually do. And also, Ninja sells extra accessories on like their website and such, so there's like other stuff that you can get for this cooker, other types of accessories that they make, and also replacement parts. So you don't have to worry if a part breaks or something. You'll be able to get replacements if you need it, if it's not something that's covered under warranty. So basically, this Ninja Foodi, I like it. It turned things out pretty good, and so I'm pretty good with that. And so I just wanted to say, if you want to buy in a way that helps this channel, there's a referral link in the video description that definitely helps this channel out. You basically don't pay a penny extra, but you help this channel. It does give a commission to this channel, which is cool. And so that's one way you can help the channel without, basically paying anything that you weren't going to already pay if you were already interested in this cooker yourself. But anyway, also in the video description, other ways to help this channel, there's also memberships and such. And so, as I said, I'm looking forward to your comments. But if you did like this, you can also find other recipes in my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. You can always get to this YouTube channel by going to waveovenrecipes.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at waveovenrecipes. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and good eating.